it's very interesting. You see economics in our everyday lives in ways that you didn't even think of before. It's always been there in front of us, and we didn't really see it. We didn't try to understand it. And it's quite fascinating, like seeing the things that we're studying in class in actual real life, how things affect each other, how we have inflation, why we have inflation, how our banks work. Like last week we were studying how our banks work, and I find that so intriguing that I didn't think of it before. It's not something that just happened one day. And I think that it was definitely a good choice, and it definitely can help me in the future with this career path that I have chosen.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Future Economist. This is the podcast where we talk about education of specifically economics and the training of future economists. I hope to show you that economics is a fascinating subject. My name is Dr. Yael Hadass. I'm the academic head of economics at the Rafael Recanati International School at Reichman University. And in this podcast, I interview my students, I interview alumni, I interview professors, faculty members, and even people from the industry that will share with us all about economics and economists. And today I'm very, very happy to host my student, Eden Sharon, who is a first-year student here at Reichman University at the Business Administration and Economics double major degree. Hi, Eden.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great.
So it's lovely to have you, and thank you so much for coming. You're actually talking with me from overseas, right? Where are you now?
I am now currently in Paris.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. And it's great to have this opportunity to also speak with you while I'm here.
Absolutely. This is the wonders of technology.
It is. It is.
Excellent. So, Eden, tell us a little bit about you. How old are you? Why did you decide to study in the Business Administration and Economics double major degree here at Reichman University? Where are you from? And, who you are in general.
Okay, so I am Eden Sharon, as you've mentioned. I am 22 years old. I currently live in Israel. I grew up in a family which moved a lot. I lived abroad 15 years. When I was 18, I decided to move here, and I moved here from Kenya. I lived in Kenya from 2010 until 2018, and I moved here. I started studying at 2021 in Reichman University. I chose to study at Reichman University. At first, it just piqued my interest because it's an international school. There's studies in English. But as I started reading more and more, I started seeing more articles. I started asking some friends that are studying there, and I heard such positive reviews. And it goes further than just academics or just studying in English. It's a community. There's like a strong community feeling in Reichman University, and there's like so many career opportunities. And it really, really piqued my interest. I came from a mechina, and then I decided that's it. I've decided that this is a place for me. Just being there one time, I knew that this is a place for me.
And by the way, what made you, if you spent most of your life abroad, why did you choose Israel?
I chose Israel because I am Israeli. I was born in Israel. When I graduated from high school, I had to decide what I want to do. For a while, I was considering studying abroad in the UK or the US. And after thinking this through properly, I realized that the best place for me is Israel because, first of all, it's part of my identity. It's something that every Israeli feels, it's your home. So I decided to study in Israel. I think it was the best choice that I've made. And it's a wonderful place, such a rich culture, such an amazing place. lots of amazing people, lots of amazing experiences, and lots of opportunities, as well as like a startup nation. And there's like every door is open. You'll hardly find a door that slams in your face over here. And it's nice. The only difficulty I would say is the distance from my family, but today we're living in a digital era. I can, still keep in touch. I still get to see them. Like right now I'm traveling. I can also travel back home to Kenya and see my family very easily, and it's very flexible today.
Are they still in
Yes.
Kenya?
They are still in Kenya. They're currently there right now. I have visited them over the break between the first and second semester, and it's nice. It's very flexible. It's not as difficult as people think to live abroad, to be far from your family. It's different, but it's good. It teaches you how to be independent. It teaches you how to be responsible for your own things. I think it also gives you that push that is required in order for you to take the next step in terms of your education, in terms of your career. You're on your own. You need to do it yourself, and I think it's been great for me.
How did you find integrating in such an international community? People come from all over the world.
It was actually quite easy for me because I grew up in an international school. It felt natural to me. It would have felt unnatural to be in a school where everyone is the same and speaks the same language and has the same religion, has the same skin color. For me, I grew up with everything different, that when someone talks to you, they might not be able to communicate with you properly in your language, but it feels natural. For us, we have people in our degree that are from Italy, Australia, the US, you have from Thailand, I'm from Kenya, we have people from Uganda, Nigeria. From every continent, you have like a representative, and it's great. You get to meet lots of people. Last week we had an international event at school. There was all kinds of stands. People were coming and talking about their cultures. They brought all kinds of food. It was like a big festival. It was quite amazing. And I feel like that's what Reichman represents. It represents lots of individuals who have different backgrounds, but we're all just, we're all students. We're all connected. We're all having a great time together. And I feel like this is something that's actually a really great, to get to know people from all kinds of places and get to know different cultures and languages. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I like about being in an international school. It just, I think for some people who were not as used to you as you were, for international school, it can be a different experience, but it's really nice to hear about your experience. Tell me, when you started this specific career path, right? The Reichman University offers many different degrees. We have psychology, we have government, we have, computer science, we have a lot of things. You chose business administration, economics. And my question is, did you have any relevant dream job? Why did you choose this specific track?
Okay, so actually, lots of people at a young age, they don't really know what they want. For me, at a young age, I already knew what I wanted. I am interested in studying actuarial science. I'm interested in becoming an actuary in the future.
Interesting. How do you think about that?
Wow, it's actually a long story. I was at my school in high school, and they were trying to help us decide which kind of subjects we want to more dive into. They had a career day to help us understand like which direction we kind of want to go towards. And in the career day, I remember I was going around and around and around, and I couldn't find anything that interests me. And as it so happens, I talked to a family relative, and I told them about the career day and that I have no idea what I want to do. And they said, you like math, right? I said, yes. He said, you like statistics, right? I said, yes. So they said, listen, there's this job that's actually related to this. Maybe you can read into it, see if it interests you. And since then, I knew like that's the thing for me. I decided to study economics and business administration because I feel like it's a good foundation. Actuarial science is something that is very specific. And I also want to have something broad, so I have an understanding of almost everything. I feel like it's important to know everything before you dive into it. You have to have a good basis to rely your further studies on. And so I chose this as my first degree, and I'm hoping to go with this to second degree in actuarial science. And I think it was a really good choice because it's very interesting. You see economics in our everyday lives in ways that you didn't even think of before. It's always been there in front of us, and we didn't really see it. We didn't try to understand it. And it's quite fascinating, like seeing the things that we're studying in class in actual real life, how things affect each other, how we have inflation, why we have inflation, how our banks work. Like last week we were studying how our banks work, and I find that so intriguing that I didn't think of it before. It's not something that just happened one day. And I think that it was definitely a good choice, and it definitely can help me in the future with this career path that I have chosen, for sure.
Interesting. Actuarial science, I know it mainly related to insurance. Is it what you had in mind, or there are other uses that you thought about?
It is related to insurance. You also can see it in a financial, like financial businesses, kind of like I know that they have it at this job in EY. It is very, very based on insurance. But it's a great job for anyone who's interested in statistics. I
So it's sort
definitely
of
am.
probably a lot related to like calculating risks. So it can be in many fields.
Yes, and I feel like there's lots of people who go into this kind of career with deciding to go specifically with statistics. There's lots of people who decide to study statistics as their first degree and then study actuarial science as their second, as their master's. But I feel like having the base of economics is very useful, because then you understand the entire kind of system in which this works, not just the numbers and the probabilities, but you actually understand how this entire system works. And that is, I think, very critical in order to understand everything else in the business world.
I must say, I totally agree. I do know that a lot of people who are doing actuarial sciences start from statistics. But in fact, if you think about risks, you have to be able to think about many different types of risks. And I think the broad education of economics definitely give you a lot of new ideas that you need to develop over time, because there's new risks coming in every time. So that's really interesting that you found your I would say passion so early.
Yeah,
You are quite unique about that, I must tell you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's so. First, I wish you a lot of luck in that.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know, because we talked earlier, that you also are working. And I must say that I'm very pleased this year, in Israel today was the Startup Nation, and, all the amazing things that happen in the high tech. We have a new thing that almost, I think every student of mine who is a first year who wants to work can find a job. And that was not the case in the past. In the past, there were, less demand for inexperienced workers. Now there's more, since there's such a huge need. There are a lot of opportunities for young people who just started education. So I'm really curious about your work. Tell us about where do you work? What do you do?
Okay, so I work in a startup fintech company in Tel Aviv. It's called Just. I actually found that job through a friend. I work as a chargeback analyst.
What is chargeback analyst?
Okay, so our company fights chargeback fraud. For example, when someone steals your credit card, then you can file for a chargeback, which is to return the money. But let's say that money wasn't rightful to ask for a chargeback. It wasn't really stolen, or whatever was stated was not right, and that is a fraud in itself. And we fight that. We help businesses fight that, because at the end of the day, it is the business that returns the money back, and it's actually quite an interesting job. We work with banks all over the world. We I feel like I'm doing a significant job in that, it's related to finance. It's something that I'm passionate about. And at the same time, I feel like I'm doing something really great. I'm really helping all kinds of businesses around the world. And it's something that is amazing that I get to do as a first year student. It's
what is the
intriguing.
daily routine of such a job? What do you do? Do you like call people? What do you do exactly?
I write the report. We analyze all the data we receive. We find all the evidence for our case, and we write a report for the banks to help our clients' case.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes,
So did you do a sort of on-the-job training? That you had to learn everything on the job, right? It's not something you learn in school.
No, it's on-the-job training. We had a training on the first week, and throughout the way we had more experienced chargeback analysts who helped us and guided us at the beginning. It's a very community-based kind of a job. Like all of our chargeback analysts are very close. We all like help each other out at work. I get to see lots of friends from IDC, from Reichman University. Lots of students work there. I have 3 people in my course, and we're now 3 people in our course that are working there together, and it's great.
Wow,
great.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting.
Yeah, because it's sort of like, I think it gives you a lot of, I would say, variety. Some days you're in school and you have to be a student, and in other days you are like a completely young professional.
Yes, it is, and it's great because I get to mix also working and also my studies, and it's very great for me because I am getting experience. It's very difficult today to find a job because every job you need for an experience. So it's great to already get in there and already start and gain the experience and be able to move forward from here. I feel like I've made the first step, and from here on there are like lots of opportunities open for me, and it's really great.
And when you came, did you have to take any test? How did they choose to give you the job when you had no experience?
It's an entry-level job, firstly, so they're not expecting to have people who already finished their degree. It's a very student job. We had there were tests and there were interviews. Not everyone gets accepted. It's you just gotta do your best, and if you're fit for the job, they take you. And luckily for me, I was, and I passed all the tests and everything, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I got into this job. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really happy where I'm at in terms of like my education, my academics, and my work.
That sounds really, fantastic combination. I'm very happy for you. I think it's going to help you also in your future aspiration as in actuarial science. I think it's related. It's another business risk that you need to insure from. So so that sounds really, really fascinating. It looks like you're really combining your interest and your passion with the experience all together. So I'm really happy to hear it. We don't have too much time, I think, but maybe the last thing I would ask you, since you already talked about school and work, can you share with us a little bit about extracurricular activities? What do you do for fun as a student at Reichman University? All kind of interesting things that are not in the realm of education and work.
Okay, so in terms of extracurriculars in Reichman University, there are so many different things to do. Every week there's something else. You have like extracurricular activities like clubs that are throughout the entire year. I personally have not joined a specific club. I was told that it would be difficult on the first year, and I disagree with that, but it's a bit late for that. So next year I already have my eye on a couple of clubs that I'm interested in joining. But there's so many, it goes further than just the clubs. You have IDC tools, you have all kinds of courses that you can join. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I'm not really sure, I went to a Back to Business forum, which was very interesting. There were lots of guest speakers who came, got to meet lots of interesting people, and they really shed lots of light on the demands in the job market today. and they gave lots of good advice for us students who are aspiring to get into these kind of this kind of job market. And it was very interesting. I like joining all of these forums and hearing from lots of people, meeting lots of important people. It's very great, and there's endless opportunities.
So that's exciting. Which clubs are you planning to join next year?
Okay, I've heard of the investment group.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very interesting. Everyone's seems very happy there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tamid group. I heard that it's also very interesting. That's, I think, it's business consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think also in some ways that the fact that I'm gonna join as or planning to join as a second year is gonna really help me, because I have this first year of foundation of I've learned some finance, I've learned some of this, so it's gonna help me further in these clubs because I'll already have the basis instead of having to start from scratch.
Yeah, I agree with you. Fantastic. Okay, my God, I have like 2 more minutes, and I want to ask you about the future of education. Like we ask everybody here, we are in the Future Economist podcast, and we also like to sort of play around with thinking how education is going to develop, because I think all of us went through a fascinating phase during the pandemic when we all of a sudden found that we can study, hybrid, that we can study online, that, a lot of things, new opportunities for studying have aroused on one thing. On one end, and the other end also sort of like new needs, like you always have to update your skills. So I'm really curious to see how you see it as a young person who just started, accumulating this precious human capital.
Okay, so I think it has lots of advantages. Obviously, there are disadvantages. I think it's always best to be in person, to meet the people, to know the people, to physically be there and experience what's going on around you. But on the other hand, it allows so much flexibility. It allows, for example, it's allowing me and you to come and discuss economics when we're in different continents. There's also the fact that the entire job market is changing. Once it would have been so far-fetched to think that job interviews would be online, but today it's hard to find job interviews that aren't online on Zoom. So I feel like it's all very dynamic. Things are changing a lot. There's lots of talk about the metaverse. Nobody knows what's going to be in the next couple of years. I think there are advantages to it. I feel like we have a personal responsibility to ourselves to actually come and try to be physically there. But at the same time, it allows flexibility. It allows, I think, also, for example, thinking about parents who are working, if their child, for example, is sick or something, it allows them to work from home. Mm-hmm. I think there's lots of advantages to it. I think it's all in, good taste, mm-hmm. as long as it's not taking too far, but that's already everyone's according to their preference. But I do think it is really great. It has allowed me to be more flexible with work, to be more flexible with studies, and with my own personal life as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it is really great. And it also allows me to study and learn new things. For example, I can also, while I'm studying, I can also take a course online. I can learn new things. I can, it's like a knowledge bank. There's yes. There's so much information online, and I think it's also really great if you really know how to use it properly. It can be a great tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I think in the past people used to do that, with books, but it was hard because not everybody can really like the cheaper book, and with these new technologies, it's definitely allowed people to maybe make it more accessible, and also even in a cheaper way that you don't have to print a book and get it to the person. Everything is online, so absolutely. Okay, so it's time to wrap up. Unfortunately, I enjoyed so much to talk to you.
Thank you, me too.
I'm going to finish this wonderful conversation with Eden Sharon, a first-year student here at the Future Economist podcast. And if you enjoy this conversation, I invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Spotify. We are in all the platforms. Future Economist, the podcast that talks about economics and education, and about students' experience at Reichman University, at the Rafael Recanati International School, at the Business Administration and Economics program. So thank you very much, and see you next time.